And they don't believe in the Most High. They don't believe in the Sabbath. They had this thing called the Sunday Sabbath. I remember at one time you had this thing called the Blue Laws, which happens in certain parts of New Jersey to this day, where they close down the stores. There's no stores open on Sunday. And I remember as a child, you had on Sundays everything was closed. I mean, you couldn't go to the grocery store. You couldn't go. No, everything was closed. Everything was closed on a Sunday because that was their Christian Sabbath. Well, in this time, everything's open on a Sunday, even liquor stores. I remember when liquor stores were closed on Sundays. Everything else was open, but liquor stores were closed on Sundays. And then what they wound up doing is they said, let the liquor stores be open on Sundays. Their so-called Sabbath. So you know they don't care about the Most High, because they don't honor the Sabbath. Even though they say that the Sabbath comes on a Sunday. So this is a wicked society, man. This is an evil society. This is a society that blasphemes the Most High because they put up a so-called white image of the Lord. Anyway, let me read on. It said, by thrones cast down must be meant the kingdoms, which includes America, China, Russia, the Arab nations, the African nations of this world, destroyed by Christ, and I'm reading it verbatim, the King and Judge of all, called the Ancient of Days because of his eternal deity. It says, now as you read down in Daniel, the 7th chapter, it said the Son of Man came to the Ancient of Days. The Son of Man represents the Lord. So they don't even know that. It says, without beginnings and end of days, whose garment was white as snow. Thus kings, viceroys were clothed as Joseph in the fine silk, Genesis 41 verse 42, and Mordecai, Esther, chapter 8 verse 15. Now listen to this. The hair of his head like the pure wool. Now if you thought with an open mind, I mean we all know this, I'm preaching to the choir so to speak, the hair meaning the hairs on the top of your head, on your chin, the hair of his head like the pure wool. What people on the planet Earth have woolly hair? So-called black people. Then it says, see Revelation 1 verse 14. And when you go to that, Edomite Christians will tell you, well, he was white. Well, wait a minute. Why would the Lord come back in his glorious body with the skin disease known as leprosy? See, you shouldn't have any mercy on these Christians, man. And take them in the deep waters and drown them spiritually. Meaning take them in the scriptures that they're not familiar with and watch them run down the street. Ask them if America's in the Bible. Oh, no, America's not in the Bible, no. So America can't be destroyed. Ask them where or what is Babylon? Where is Babylon located? It's in the Middle East. Or if they do tell you that Edomites exist, they'll tell you that they're Arabs. This is why we call you people the devil. It said the hair of his head like the pure wool. The only conclusion you can come to is that the Most High is a black man. Even JFK said that. What if you find out God is black? It says, see Revelation 1 verse 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. Meaning the hair on his head and the hair on his face were white, which represents someone that could be old, an older man, an older individual. But it says it's white like wool. Like I said, I'm preaching to the choir. It says noting his innocence and righteousness and judgment, Isaiah 42 verse 4. Well, shouldn't it also represent that he was a so-called black man? It says the hair of his head like the pure wool. That's a black man, a so-called black man. It goes on to say his throne was like the fiery flame, which we know that this is talking about a ship, a UFO, if you will. This notes his majesty and judgment. See Psalms 1 verses 3 and 4, Malachi 4, Malachi 4 and 1, Revelation 19, 11 and 12. Revelation 19, 11 says, and I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doeth judge and make war. That's Yahushua. And he's not coming on a horse like Pegasus. He's coming in a gigantic ship. It says his wheels as burning fire. So this further proves that the Lord is coming back in a gigantic ship, a UFO, if you will, arguing the greatness and most formidable state of the last judge and judgment, alluding to the kings who had movable thrones, meaning physical kings on the earth, which he's going to destroy pursuant to the prophecies, which had wheels. It notes also the Most High swiftness in judgment, Malachi 3 verse 5. I'll read that. And I will come near to you to judgment, and I will be a swift witness against the sorcerers, which are the elite of Esau. They get their power from the left-hand side. And against the adulterers. There's no laws against adultery. There's no laws against it. I've never seen police pull somebody and put them against the wall and handcuff them because they caught them in the act of adultery. Adultery runs rampant in America and around the world and in the land of Israel. And that's a law unto death. And we're stern about adultery, man. Don't let me hear a brother dealing with another man's wife, because you gonna be shunned. There ain't no second chances with you, man. This is why us in GMS, we don't allow women in this circle. It said, and against false swearers, which is Esau, and against those that oppress the hireling, and that's what they do. In his wages, the widow and the fatherless, and that turn aside the stranger from his right. Now, our right is the fact that we're supposed to know. Esau knows that we're the Israelites. We have a right to know that we're the Israelites. So Esau chooses to hide the fact that we're the Israelites, even to the point where we say that we're the Israelites, and they're demonizing us for calling ourselves Israelites, who we are the Israelites. And I can clearly see why they're going to be Obadiah 1:18. They're going into captivity. We will have our foot on their neck, figuratively and literally, out in the field, And at the end of that whole ordeal, for 1,000 years, we're going to gather them together and we're going to get rid of them. It says, and that turn aside the stranger from his right and fear not me. And they don't fear the Most High, like I said early in the video. They don't honor Sabbath. At one time they had a thing called blue laws. Look it up. Sunday laws, blue laws, same thing. Like I said, I remember as a child where you better, if you're gonna get something, you better get it on a Saturday, because Sunday, everything, the only thing that was open, even movie theaters were closed. The only thing that was open, you didn't have malls back there. The only thing that was open is churches, because they were calling themselves trying to be right with the Most High, but they don't even do that no more. They don't even honor their so-called Sabbath. It says, said the Lord of hosts. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.